I'll cut to the wide shot. Everybody will see it. It'll be funny.
I get so scared with this helmet. You want to step in? Okay.
One shot.
I'll see what it's like. Okay.
Great.
Let's give it a go.
Let's do it.
What do you want me just to like? It's like we're doing full wrestling match right now.
Yeah, Zoe, can you commentate this like it's a basketball game?
Well, I mean, this is a little bit different than basketball.
You were my height. Okay, so you came that. So we're headlock.
Oh, shaver.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, you've mostly known me with just the goatee.
As I said, I don't know if I've really seen you without it.
No, but the thing is, I was like, I wonder if I can grow a beard for my brother's wedding. Kind of. Mostly no.
It connects.
It does connect. I don't got anything right here.
Yet.
I'll go for the
Yeah,
chin
you just
strap.
always shave that every day.
Yeah.
Please do not do the chin strap. Have you ever done one? Okay. 8th grade. Jeez.
My best
People
friend
were just blessed different.
My best friend Nathan, he was adopted from Russia, and we said that's why he's so hairy, because like it's cold over there or something. He had a full beard in the 7th grade.
Which of your brothers do you think is going to be able to grow the best beard?
None of them.
Probably like Andrew, if any of them.
Oh, that's a good guess.
Andrew would
But I
look
feel like
dapper with a beard.
Can't, at least for a while.
I love it.
I'm just glad Micah's not doing the. I have a buddy he's a freshman in college this year, and he's kind of doing the thing I did, where it's like I want to see if I can grow a beard, but it's kind of just the chin strap, and it's just like 5 hairs every 6 inches.
God bless, man.
It's tough.
Yeah, the most Micah's grown out was like when he went to Ethiopia. He got like a haircut by one of the guys there, and the guy did like his like little stub to it, and so Mike was like, I think he had like a month left till he came back, and he's like, well, in honor of that guy, I guess I'm not gonna like shave it. And so he just like grew it out until we saw him. It didn't look terrible. It wasn't like phenomenal, but
That's something. Well, we're gonna jump right in. So everyone, welcome back to the Rocky Students Podcast, where and we love to highlight people's platforms, celebrate them, and create some joy and purpose in all of you. So thanks for watching and subscribing. And first off, we got to just say Zoe is the student guest host for today's episode.
Welcome, Zoe.
Thanks for being here. Zoe, you're a junior at Frederick High School.
I am.
Play basketball.
I do.
You got 5 brothers. The number right. That always throws me off. So those are some feats alone that you're surviving with 5 brothers and basketball
That'll
player.
preach.
Are you gonna try to play basketball in college?
Yeah.
All right.
Sick.
What schools you would be like, hey, this is where I would love to start chatting with people?
Honestly, like I don't even know what school I want to go to. I'm just kind of
Okay.
open to anything right now.
Do you have a direction you want to go? Like,
Are you saying like northeast, west?
no,
south?
sorry, like study, like direction of study,
Okay.
Oh,
like a major.
no, I don't.
That's what that's called.
I don't
Cool.
know.
Hey, keep your options open. You know.
I'm sure you'll do exactly what you study in college. That's what I'm doing. Liberal arts major
Liberal.
means everything.
It's a liberal.
Liberal arts. Well, here's what we're going to do. I want to jump into getting our guest in here.
Heck
I'm
yeah.
excited about today.
Me too.
It's going to be a good one. So our guest today is Sammy Jones,
Hey.
who is a 2-time Greco-Roman U.S. World Team member, University World Bronze medalist, born and raised in Folsom, Louisiana.
Heck yeah.
Heck yeah, Louisiana. Currently lives in a full-time self-converted school bus and is an amazing dad and husband. And as always, we bring in Chat GPT because it had to say this: from the swamps to the wrestling mat, this living legend is conquering the wrestling world one match at a time. This champion unleashed sits at 63 kilograms and will take on anyone who asks. Will you please welcome Sammy Jones to the podcast? Come on in, Sammy.
Oh, you. There we
And
go.
then
You can't hear it, but there's people cheering you on.
I'm a big Olympics guy.
Is that the
I can
intro?
tell.
Yeah, you know. I tried to upload it and then I was like, maybe we would get.
Yeah, I'll just add it in post.
Oh, there we go.
There we go.
Good luck removing my
We're not monetizing.
Dun.
this
terrible
yet.
singing. Sammy, welcome. Thanks for being
I need a
here.
copy of that introduction from ChatGPT. I'm just going to forward that to everyone.
All right.
Heck yeah, dude.
Dude, so I really like Jack.
From
Sometimes
the swamps.
from the swamps, dude. Which apparently Louisiana has all swamps, I guess.
Yeah.
According to ChatGPT.
Well, I mean, where I live, yeah. It's mostly water.
Dude, that's a
A lot of water.
it's a skill set I do not have. I'm impressed by it.
Swamps.
Like swamp life.
Oh.
Oh,
I can do the mountains in Colorado, but like you put me in the swamps, and I'm like, I will not survive a day.
Mm.
So
Too many
lot of respect.
skeeters.
too many skeeters. I know.
You get
By the way, before we jump into just hearing more about you and knowing you, people need to know Sammy met with us before this whole podcast started and was just so foundational in getting this going and helping us with tips and tricks because you have your own podcast that we'll talk about. So, dude, thank you just for investing in this from the get-go before it was even started. We benefited a lot from your wisdom, so thank
happy
you.
to help, y'all.
It was good.
Turned it into this. It's awesome.
I know.
Kind of take when I gave you the in with it.
Heck yeah, dude.
That's how it goes.
We don't know slow. We full send everything, honestly.
I can get behind that.
Yeah, we said on the first episode, it will not be for lack of trying if this podcast fails.
That is true.
Control what you can control, baby.
Exactly.
Also, today is your birthday.
I know.
Dude, happy
Wow,
birthday.
Happy birthday. You're what, 16?
Yeah.
Yeah.
30 today, and I'm not
Nice.
sure how I feel about it. You know?
It's a weird it's a weird number. But it was helpful when Tom Brady was in NFL because he was like 43
Oh, yeah.
and still killing it. So technically you still got at least 13 years
There you go.
left. When I was thinking of this today, I was like, oh, it's his birthday. We got to talk about the happy birthday song real quick. Do you know the two different versions? There's the
The one that we all sing
Yeah.
for birthdays, and then
And
the
the
second one that
happy
Skylar sang on-
birthday to
Oh, yeah,
you.
Stevie Wonder.
Happy birthday.
Yeah.
The one everyone sings just sounds like a song from the Great Depression.
Yeah, it's like for funerals.
Feels sad. So, anyways, we're honored that you were going to join us on your birthday.
Oh, heck yeah. dude.
So,
I feel
We'll
like
put in the
it's gotta
Stevie
be
Wonder
good
version,
now.
though.
The Stevie
Absolutely.
It's
Wonder.
gonna be special.
Well, my version wasn't as good as the
That's that version.
Stevie one.
That's the song.
Gosh. All right. Well, we would love to know a little bit. We know you live in a bus, which is so cool. You have another kid on the way.
We do. We're having our
So
second
cool.
boy in February.
Love that. I love that, dude.
that's exciting.
You guys are going to be in it. 2 boys.
Oh, yeah. That's what everybody's letting us know. You're about to be in it. I mean, we're aware of that, and we we signed up for it, so.
Yeah.
I feel like you could soon have like a family lifestyle YouTube channel and just call it 2 Boys in a Bus. Pretty good.
I'd watch that.
I would too.
Boys in a bus.
2 Boys in a Bus.
If he doesn't run with it, we can do some show where we travel across America. You find a bus.
I've always liked the idea of doing that vlog style where it's like, this is a day in the life, and then it comes to actually doing it. I'm like,
Yeah.
there's a lot of me
Yeah.
just doing the dishes, and cleaning up tiles. I'm like, I don't know about this.
Dude.
How do I
Good
make this
times.
fun?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's good.
If there's any videographers that want to like join my lifestyle, you can come film my life and put it on YouTube for me. I'd be
There you
down
go.
with that.
Yeah. Dude, I'd be so interested.
All right.
That would be so cool
Let's
to
put
watch.
it out there.
That'd be
For my
interesting.
30th
Well, I mean-
birthday, I want someone to come in and
Yeah.
video our life in the bus. 2 boys in a
Perfect.
bus.
Did you see
Heard it here first.
Did you see the Jason Kelsey documentary?
No.
That's pretty much what they did. He's a center for the Eagles. They just did a big kind of like family documentary
Oh, that's
about
so fun.
him ending, like he's thinking about retirement and stuff.
Oh,
That's a
dang.
great way to like
He's older than us, though,
bring some closure.
so
Yeah.
don't worry.
Okay.
Don't worry, Taylor Swift is older
Your
than you
laptop
too.
fell asleep.
Yeah, Taylor Swift is older than all of us in the room.
And she's arguably the most powerful woman alive.
Probably.
Right
I mean,
now.
she could start a riot worldwide.
That was Pink who sang that song, not
Thank
Taylor
you.
Swift.
Thank you.
Just wanted to clarify.
Thank you. Oh, Red is
Start a
Taylor
riot.
Swift.
Mm.
Yeah.
There you go.
Not Pink.
Do you like Pink? She's making a comeback.
I've been seeing a lot of her. The algorithms kicking. We got the same algorithm because she's been on my Instagram too all of a sudden. So
Dude.
either she's making a comeback or Instagram just knows we're friends.
Yeah, 30-year-old men love Pink.
Apparently. Is Pink on your hype playlist before before a match?
Just
Or like, what do you listen to music before a match?
I listen to music when I warm up, but then I don't listen to it like right before a match. I think it's a lot of guys do. I don't. I like to be in my own head.
Yeah. Like Michael Phelps apparently at one point in time was listening to like classical music. What's your style of?
Really, it depends on. So like last season, I went through like a Greta Van Fleet phase where I listened to that album. Nice. I'll listen to worship music. I listen to stuff that calms me down. That's like a lot of people are different. Like they need to be amped up. I need to be like almost asleep before I wrestle because my nerves are high, and so I just try to calm myself down as much as possible.
Yeah.
So.
Do you have the same playlist every time, or do you change it?
Well, I change it. It's just like what I'm listening to in that moment, and I'll listen to music like when I'm rolling up to the arena, when I'm doing my like warm up. I'll have my playlist, and then when it's time like right before a match, I just kind of get into tunnel vision and don't play any music.
Yeah, that's fair. I've definitely had like people that are like listening to the same thing every time because it's like gets you like in your zone, but. Like me personally, like I listen to like whatever I need. Like sometimes I do need to be like pumped up and I'm like listening to, to whatever it is at that time. But sometimes it's like I just need to be like calm and start listening to like worship music or whatever.
Yeah.
So I definitely change it up.
I've been listening to Kesha.
Ooh,
Nice.
She's making a comeback. She's freaking good.
Is she
I
you
didn't
trying
know
to
that.
produce for her?
No, I'm not trying to produce for Kesha. Not my speed.
Oh, okay.
She's got some fun songs though. And I like to be like really happy when I'm going to warm up. So like that's kind of a funny thing. When I go into warm ups, I need like really happy music. So Kesha's she's doing that for me right now.
Nice.
And then I turn it all off.
Yeah.
Nice. My brother just got in the last couple of years kind of into like the powerlifting thing.
Oh yeah.
And I don't know if he's still doing it, but when he was, I would ask him like, "What do you listen to? What gets you amped up?" And he's like, "I'm listening to metal covers of Disney songs." And I mean, to each their own, but I'm just like,
Will you let us know if you try that on for your next match? Like, hey,
Sure.
Disney metal makes me happy.
Dude, I've
go.
done a lot of different stuff. I listened to like EDM, some good dance music. I used to like dance before to like try to just get myself in. I'm trying to make things fun.
Yeah.
So.
If you had a walkout song, what would you choose?
I've been going with Greta Van Fleet, Stardust Chords.
Nice.
It's kind of epic.
Yeah.
I've been going with that one. I had a Khalid song. I can't remember what it's called.
"That's a go." I'll just put it in post. I'll put everything in post.
Blanking right now, but it's something. Oh man,
Dude, I used to think Khalid was said Khalid.
is it Khalid or is it Khalid?
No, it's Khalid.
It's Khalid. Yeah.
It's DJ
I
Khaled.
found peace in violence. In my violence. What is that song? I'm totally
Oh.
blanking on.
You know it, don't you?
Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah,
Parker's,
it's gone.
Parker's good with music.
I'm sorry.
I'm not gonna take a break.
That's where Google search will come in handy.
Yeah.
Sorry, we can clip this part.
Just down in the bottom, there'll be a song title
Just
that
when
we can't
you
think of.
ask me what's your song, you can just play that. I'll just kind of stand in
There you
into
go.
the camera.
Listen, you texted me at like 6 this morning.
Yeah.
Well, 6:40. So you were up early.
Yeah.
You were up late last night. You had practice yesterday.
I did.
So
You texted me early.
yeah,
That's my only like alone time is if I get up early.
we need time change in kids. It'll get you. It'll get you. For those people who are watching that are like, what's the difference between WWE,
Oh yeah.
wrestling, Greco-Roman wrestling? Could you give us a little breakdown?
Yeah.
Because I know WWE and what you do is very similar.
Yeah, they really are. So WWE is it's what you watch on TV.
Mm-hmm.
It's very theatrical.
Yeah.
There is an element of theater in there. There's definitely some real stuff that goes on. So
Yeah.
I'm not throwing shade. What we do, Greco-Roman wrestling, is one of the two Olympic styles of wrestling. So there's freestyle, which is more similar to folk style wrestling, which is what you're going to see collegiately and in high school. It's the most popular style in the United States. It's only wrestled in the United States, folk style. Internationally, everybody wrestles freestyle or Greco-Roman. And internationally, Greco-Roman is the most popular style of wrestling.
Nice.
And it's probably our least popular style in the United States.
Yeah.
So kind of
That's cool. With your permission, we might just throw up some highlight clips of you.
Sure.
Just in the corner of this video.
I always tell people, like, yeah, go on YouTube and watch me wrestle. There's some great matches, and then there's ones where it's like, ooh, ouch.
Yeah.
Getting trounced.
Yeah. Well, I was showing your brothers one Sunday of like, hey, here's some of Sammy's highlights. I was like, you
That's
guys can
wild.
try this at home.
I thought you were about to go off of like the bad part, and I thought you were gonna just like say like you're like, look at this, Zoe just got trashed. I was like, not good.
No.
That's,
The
I mean, it's
disrespect.
a humbling sport. You know, it's kind of hard to get away from not getting beat up every now and then.
Yeah. I mean, it's like 50-50. You're throwing someone to the ground, or you're the one being thrown at some point in time, right?
Pretty much. Yeah, you either win or you lose.
Yeah.
So there's a distinct outcome.
That's so good. I love it. I mean, here's the other thing, too. You were here a couple weeks ago, and it was in this room. You walked in, and I was like, maybe on the podcast, we'll talk about who would win between a wrestling match, me and you. I'm 6'7", 260.
Yeah.
And you're a wrestler.
We're not the same size. And you were like, yeah, let's go. And I was like, he's not batting an eye at all. Because if I was in your shoes, I'm now looking at a 7'4" dude, 350 pounds, and I would have to be like, oh, yeah, I can take him. You had no hesitation of like, let's do it right now, right here. It's going to be a good match. And I was like, he's got the mindset down.
Yeah. I mean,
He's willing to take on anyone.
neither one of us have anything to lose besides me getting hurt. That's the biggest
Yeah.
thing is you could potentially hurt me, and that would probably be out of. Have you wrestled before?
No,
Have you done any jiu-jitsu, boxing?
no, just with my brother.
Okay, I probably wouldn't get hurt, but you could do something crazy and like
That's true.
snap me in half. But
Yeah, just all arm bar you, leg bar you.
but
I don't even actually know if that's a move. What was the move that when you came and talked at students? What was the? It was like power bomb, or what'd you call it?
well, power bomb, yeah. So that's when you lift somebody up on their your shoulders and you just drop them on their head.
Yeah.
Ooh.
Power bomb.
Okay.
And then I think I talked about a front headlock, which is like
Yeah.
when you just have someone's head and their arm. It's well, I'll put you in a front headlock.
That'd be fun.
Yeah, you'll be all right.
Dang.
But you should at least feel it once
Yeah.
in your lifetime.
Okay.
Can we do it right now?
We should witness this.
Right. Are you going all the way till I pass out?
No, I'm just gonna put you in a front headlock, and I'll kind of like baby squeeze so you can see the like potential.
Dude.
I'll cut to the wide shot. Everybody will see it. It'll be funny.
I get so scared with
This is
this.
your moment. Are you gonna step into
'Kay.
it? You get one shot.
I'll see what it's like.
Okay.
Great.
Let's give it a go.
Let's do it.
What do you want me just to like? It's like we're doing full wrestling match right now.
Yeah. Zoe, can you commentate this like it's a basketball game?
Well, I mean, this is a little bit different than basketball.
You were my height. Okay, so
But-
we're like this. You came down. So front headlock is when your head goes down. Like I've got him in this position. So there's a few, but I would come here. So if you is the camera ready? You're right here. That's wild. That's one variation.
That's one variation. Oh my gosh. How do you feel?
I'll be honest, I was not expecting that.
Do you feel small?
I got lightheaded real quick. I couldn't say anything. Dang. Yeah, me and my brother, we were not good wrestlers. Just according to that right there.
My brother
That's
and I
wild.
would wrestle like in our old house with this like huge room, and so all the boys to sleep in it, and they had like bunk beds, right? So they had like half the room open. Well,
Yeah.
my brothers and I would like wrestle down there, of course. Like, what else are you gonna do?
Yeah.
So we'd wrestle, and Caleb, who's the third, he's got to pile in with me and older brother. He's got to keep up, and so we're like banging each other and whatever. And he'd start crying, and well, eventually got to the point that Dad was like, "Okay, guys, no more wrestling, two-hand touch." And all of us were like, "That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard." Two-hand touch
Two-hand
wrestle,
touch.
like And so what we would do is we'd wrestle, and then if Caleb like hit his head or anything, we'd like stuff a comforter in his face. We're like, "Shh, Dad's coming! Like Dad will come if you don't shut up." And so he would stop crying, and we'd do it again, and he'd get hurt, and we're like, shove the comforter back in his face, like, "Don't cry." We're not playing
I
two-hand
love
touch
that.
wrestle.
That's so good.
Is he the youngest?
This is a
He's the third of 6.
Yeah. I feel like sibling wrestling is a rite of passage. It just has to happen.
this is a good.
Yeah.
It's a good character builder.
Yeah. Me and my brother, the one time we were allowed to was every Thanksgiving at my grandparents' house because the whole family would be there. They're like, fight, fight, fight. And I'm like, this sounds healthy. But being the older brother, it's like, I was like, heck yeah.
Gotta go. Yeah.
And because I'm older brother, I was mostly bigger and stronger than him. And this thing would happen. I'm sorry to put you on blast right now, Martin.
Do it.
But we would do the because it was my grandparents' house, we couldn't like break anything, so we had to start on our knees. But everything was fair game. And so like I would mostly kind of just put him in a headlock and just like throw him down until he got tired. But then he would get so mad. He doesn't. Neither of us have ever actually like thrown a punch at each other. Like that's just the line that we wouldn't cross. But he would just take his arm and do this and just do full arm swings and try and like break my trachea.
Do you think that what you're talking about right now is why he got into powerlifting?
Just like be bigger and stronger.
Parker was
Like,
beating me
just
up as
wait, a comeback is coming.
Yeah. Hey man, there were moments during his wedding week that I was like, we're gonna get into a physical altercation.
Oh boy.
Yeah,
Emotions
but
were high.
Dang.
it's all good. I took the high road.
There you go. Do you have any siblings?
I do. I have 2 brothers and a sister.
Okay.
And it's funny that wrestling is a rite of passage. I wrestled my cousins a bunch, but my older brother, he's 8 years older than me, and we never wrestled. But I contribute my competitiveness to Charlie
Nice.
because he would play if we like any game we play, we'd play to 10, and he would let it be 9-9, and then he would play as hard as he could. And like,
Dude.
you know, imagine an 8-year-old and a 16-year-old playing as hard as they can, and like, I mean, I'd throw bats at him. I'd lose my mind when I would lose
Yeah.
to him, but I never beat him. I don't know if I've beaten him to this day at anything. 10-9.
10. Dang.
It's about time.
That's good.
It's about time for a comeback.
Yeah.
Go
now.
I realized we forgot to show you something. This is not here yet.
Your singlet.
But this is your birthday gift that we were gonna give to you, but it's not. It's still in the mail. So
You actually printed that?
it was pre-made
Yeah, on Amazon.
on Amazon.
We got it on Amazon for you.
So
Happy
we will
birthday.
get this for you. But again, happy
Wow.
birthday
Thank you.
and
That
Merry
is
Christmas.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And with this, I was like, we're just gonna jump right into our like recurring segment, the Instagram deep dive,
Okay.
Ooh.
where we want to show you some pictures of your life and you tell us what's going on.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. So, I mean, you might say it might be cool for now.
Well, I mean, which ones are you going to put up? Like ones from like 2013 when Instagram was brand new and like we were using the pre-filters.
Let's see.
Boom. Look at that. Oh, man, that was a season of life. I'll tell you exactly where I was.
That's a different man.
Okay, real quick before when I saw this, I was like, "Is this a picture of my dad from the '70s?"
Yeah, look at that flow.
I love it. All right, what's going on here?
Well, I'm in Louisiana.
Okay.
I'm back from college break. I am. Okay, do you want the full truth or nothing but?
Yeah, we'll do the full truth.
We'll
doing
censor
full
if we
truth.
have
What year
to.
was that? What year was that?
I want to say I should look it up. It was before 2014, I believe.
Yeah. Before 2014.
Are you trying to decide right now if you're playing worship music or if you guys were camping,
I think I'm probably just still learning.
doing other?
like
I mean, it looks
guitar.
like you're playing
like a
a D chord.
yeah D. Looks like a D chord. I don't know. I can't really tell. I think I had just gotten that guitar. So my parents got me a guitar to help me process my life. And that was one of the keys. 'Cause I would write music. I love to write music. And so I was just learning how to do it. And during that season of life specifically, I was broken up with my girlfriend. We were in a break. And I was starting to talk to this other little girl.
Nice.
And Michigan. Neither of them worked out. That was what I was focused on. I wasn't
Nice.
really like pursuing God in that moment.
Yeah.
It's like I'm gonna throw up this picture to get some attention.
Yeah, he was capo too. He was like,
Truthfully, I mean that's where I was at. That's what was going on in my mind.
Did you use the guitar play with Nat, your current wife?
I did. I proposed and I wrote Nat a song.
heck yeah. It looks like
I
you're
didn't use
about to
that
play
trick on anyone
Wonderwall, honestly. Got that capo too.
Yeah,
Oh, the capo
Everybody has to learn Wonderwall.
with a tailor-made guitar.
yeah.
I still have the guitar.
Dude.
I love it. It's
Parents-
like the baby. It's the
The Baby Taylor.
yeah. It's
They're great.
great guitar. I love it.
Nice. I just love.
But I was home for a break in college.
That's good. Well, thanks for sharing. I just love, like,
That was a
honestly.
surprise that was the first photo you pulled up. Let's see what's next.
All right, this one
Okay.
gets a little more, back
Oh,
to.
yeah. You could have started with this one.
No, I wanted to go just straight. Old
so
school.
This is in Croatia. We had a world team camp, national team member camp out there. So it's like a 2-week camp. You go out. We had a tournament prior, and then there's a bunch of different countries. And this is amazing. It's on, I believe you pronounce it Pork. Pork. It's on the coast of Croatia, looking at over into Italy.
wow.
And we're at a resort during the winter time, so no one's there, but you get to eat like you're at a resort.
Heck yeah,
it
dude.
was-
Is that why you're sweating so much?
Amazing.
Yeah, we had just done an outside workout. We ran, and then we did like an outside training that day, and then jumped into. Some of the guys jumped into the sea. I didn't jump into the sea.
Sick.
So you look pretty happy after conditioning. There's some people there who they might be
brighter
struggling. Like if I was up there, I would be the.
I mean, all those dudes are killers, pretty much. I wouldn't mess with any of those dudes if I were you.
Dude, Minnesota wrestling looks like
That's what I would
a
look
Croatian
like
gangster that
Pat
could kill
Smith.
me.
I'm gonna send him that clip. Pat Smith looks like a Croatian gangster. Yeah, we were roommates on that trip.
Dude,
Sick.
he could be the inspiration behind you going back to the goatee. Look at that thing.
No,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's pretty good.
Every now and then he grows a pretty killer mustache too.
Heck yeah,
Just
I
mustache.
cannot do a mustache. Hey, I couldn't.
I was like, you got one on.
What?
In the wrestling world, it's a Minnesota thing.
Oh yeah.
Mustache is
Minnesota.
totally a Minnesota thing.
All right. Okay, this one I cheated.
Oh, yeah.
I went to Google because I saw this when I was just doing other research, and I was like, "This is awesome." So what's the like?
So this is 2014. This is at the University World Championships. It's kind of funny because I took off. I quit wrestling my senior year of high school. So I had not to go to college. I just wasn't in a place. I think I've kind of shared a little bit about that. But this was the first year back. So I'd come back to college, wrestled an entire year, made the world team, and went to the World Championships and took third place.
Sick.
So, yeah.
It's wild.
And the headbands we got on 4th of July. We did a training camp, and it kind of was over 4th of July week. And so we all got these red, white, and blue headbands. So I had to bring the energy in.
Heck yeah,
It's a
dude.
great
Dude, I
trip.
love it. I love it. Why did they give you a paper bag?
I think there was like a gift inside.
Okay.
So there might have
Just
been, like,
it really caught me off guard. I was
yeah.
It was a
We went to
PB&J
Costco, like,
lunch.
yeah.
Yeah.
It looks like the kindergartner, like first grade, like participation
Yeah.
award, and like here's your little paper bag of like goodies.
Yep. Yeah.
That's so funny.
That's cool. Well, thanks for letting us do a little
Yeah.
deep dive into your life. There were so many other ones of like, I love the different hair stages you had.
I've gone through so many different types of hair. I feel like I've landed on dreads, and I feel like that's the one that I connect with the most. But I
Yeah.
definitely changed my hair. When I was a kid, my dad used to cut my hair, and I will put you on blast. They were horrible haircuts. I am very traumatized from my haircuts, and it's probably why I look the way I look.
Yeah.
Hey, fair
Like,
enough.
I talked to River, our son, and be like, "Hey, do you want to cut your hair?" And he's like, "No." He has no idea what that's like, but he's never cut his hair, so.
Yeah.
That's so funny.
Man. While we're talking about some wrestling stuff, I want to say, again, you can correct me if I'm wrong. In 2022, you ended that year ranked 23rd worldwide
In the world,
in the world, rough, according to the rankings.
yeah.
And then you just did an event in Denmark this past June. Does that sound about right?
Mm-hmm.
And in there, in your weight category, you were 7th.
Yeah.
So what does that make you right now, world rankings?
So the world rankings, the way that they do it, they have these ranking series tournaments, and so it kind of like restarts every year. And you
Okay.
go to these tournaments, and how many matches you win or where you place gives you ranking points, and they use that for the world championship. So if you go to these tournaments and you place, basically they're trying to separate the best guys from each other. So that last season just ended, so I haven't wrestled any matches.
Okay.
And for this next season,
Yeah.
so.
Okay. We talked a little bit about this at one point in time, but just when we look at the 2024 Olympics in Paris,
Yep.
have you done the prerequisites to be like, hey, that's the team that I'm on? Are you fighting to be on that team?
So the Olympic trials, there's a qualification process for that. So I've already qualified for the trials.
Okay.
Now it is trying to find, like I was talking about with those international ranking points, now it's ranking points for the trials. So
Got
in
it.
December, we'll compete at the U.S. Open. If you win that tournament, you go to the Pan Am Championships. If you place top 2 in the Pan Am Championships, that qualifies your weight class for the Olympics. And if you're the guy that does that, you get a bye to the finals of the Olympic trials. So that's the only guy that gets a bye
Wow.
to the Olympic trials finals, unless you're a medalist from last year,
Okay.
which I'm not. So that's going to be my route that I'm going to try to take. So everybody's trying to make that team.
Yep.
We're trying to win the U.S. Open in December, qualify the weight. So qualifying the weight, there is an allotted amount of weight classes for the Olympics. There's less in the Olympic years, and every weight class has to qualify their country. So not every country gets to go. And there are certain ways that you can do that. And there's like the Pan Am Championships. That's our qualification for the Pan Am countries. So Canada, United States, and all of South America.
Dang.
You have to place
And
top
how
two.
many people would represent United States?
It would be 1 per weight class.
Okay.
Wow.
Yeah, you have to, and you have. That's true for every year. They only send 1 per weight.
Yeah.
So,
Man.
Do you?
So go ahead.
Do you know and like are buddies with a lot of the people you wrestle? Like,
yeah.
So how do you balance that? Like, I love you. I have to beat you. Like,
Yeah, it's difficult.
yeah, and like
sure.
maintaining civility and camaraderie. You know.
Well, the interesting thing with wrestling is I need you to get better. So, like, if you're my training partner, we go to these camps. Like, we kind of have to look out for each other while we're training. But there's definitely strategy of like who shows what to each other and who you grab, and like some guys. I mean, I'm kind of more the mentality of like I don't care. I'm just gonna wrestle everybody. And
Yeah.
The way I try to look at it is I'm trying to be the best in the world, not the best just in the United States. So if you learn my tendencies, it's gonna force me to get better because I'm gonna have to get creative to beat you.
So-
and if you know my tendencies and I can still score with them, that means they're unstoppable.
That's cool.
That's how I try to look at it. It's different for everybody. I have guys that it's like, oh, the more friendly I am with you, like the more comfortable I am when it's time to compete. Other guys like, no, I have to hate you. We can't be friends.
Yeah.
Same weight.
Yeah, that's tough because it's not like the. This is a really weird analogy, but it's not like the Hunger Games where it's like we can be friends, but I'm going to kill you. It's like
I mean, kind of, dude. If you go to the Olympics, like this is a lifelong dream for everyone. So like, I'm gonna wrestle like some of my really good friends, guys that have been come to my wedding. I've gone to their weddings. So we're gonna wrestle in the Olympic trials, and only one goes.
wow.
So
Dang.
it is kind of like the Hunger Games when it's time. Like we're trying to beat each other, and I'm not saying that you cheat, but you're gonna do everything you can to win. And so
Fair enough.
leave it there.
You don't get that Katniss, PETA, whatever, the night lock or nightshade, whatever
no,
it
because
is.
we're signing up for it. Yeah,
Yeah,
that would be the difference.
gotcha. No, that makes sense.
We're signing up for it. It does matter. It does matter.
Didn't Katniss sign up for it?
Fair
She
enough.
did.
Technically, she did.
Fair enough.
Did. There's a new one coming
Well, she
out.
volunteered herself.
Yeah, prequel.
That's true.
The prequel.
Yeah, the Ballad of
Like that.
Songbirds and Snakes or something. Snakes and Songbirds.
Something like that.
Something like that. May the odds be ever in your favor. Yeah.
Speaking of favor,
Uh,
we did an Instagram poll. We're going to go back to our next reoccurring segment, which is the Instagram poll where all of you get to vote on a question. This question,
I feel very passionately about.
Okay. Oh,
we might throw down based off
we
some
might.
answers in this room.
Yeah, you probably can't take both of us, is all I'm saying. So answer carefully.
We're sometimes known as quarter ton.
You actually probably
I
could.
love when people tell me I can't. If you want me to just do reverse psychology, it's like
You definitely can take
you
us.
definitely can't do the dishes right now. I'm like, oh yeah, babe.
Oh yeah, watch this. Sam, people call us quarter ton sometimes because that's us combined together. We just lay on some people and
What would I be? Let's see how good you
A
are.
lot less than that.
You're not-
A fraction of a ton.
the question was this: Christmas music before Thanksgiving, you can start listening to it, or after Thanksgiving. I'm gonna make you answer last. So before you explain your answer, before or after,
Thanksgiving.
you can listen to music before. Thanksgiving.
Before.
After. Heck, I don't even listen to it until the week before.
I think Shell
I'm-
started listening to Christmas music like a month ago.
Interesting. I'm after Thanksgiving.
But like, I don't think you can listen to it like that's the only thing you can listen to, or else like.
But you're
by
still-
Christmas is boring. But
it's
you can
still
listen
coming.
to it.
It's still going through your ears.
Yeah.
To your brain.
Mhm.
What are you saying, before or after?
After.
Oh man,
Thank you.
After.
I was about to just drop. I
Everything.
said I'm leaving the set if he says it's after,
But
like
I
before
saw that
Thanksgiving.
poll, and I saw that was like majority was before Thanksgiving.
You were the majority, by the way.
It's the right place to be.
I know.
Do you
that's
get-
how my wife and I legitimately have intense conversations about the Christmas.
Is
music.
she a before Thanksgiving person?
She is a Christmas
All year?
music, like, yeah, pretty much. I mean, if it's slightly cool outside, Christmas music.
Oh gosh.
No, I mean, but yeah, she's listening to it now.
Dang. I make the lobby playlists here for students, basketball, including our Christmas lobby playlist, and it hurts me because it's like I'm like
Dude, there's only like 10 songs, and it's like, what are you gonna listen to 10 songs for 2 months?
Bing Crosby on loop.
I mean, Michael Bublé makes a
watch
strong
yourself.
comeback, but I'd like to listen to him for a week, and that's about it. And then go
Here's
back into the shadows.
You enjoy Christmas music when it is time to listen to Christmas music.
Yeah.
You don't.
I
You don't like Christmas music
just
ever, except the
I just-
Grinch song.
don't see a need for it.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever
Like
learned.
getting into
And
this-
it sucks because it's like it's part of my job. And the thing is, okay, so I take it back. I do like Christmas music on Christmas Eve.
Oh, yeah.
Like when we do it like on stage, like in a service. But man,
But then like Christmas is already there. Like there's no anticipation.
I mean, yeah. So December.
But, like,
first
I'm
week
saying
of
by
December,
Christmas
we
Eve,
can
by
build up. So
Christmas
like right
Eve.
after Thanksgiving is perfect
Yeah.
in my opinion. It's like we have a month build up.
Here's what I'm going to say, and I've been saying this for years.
Okay.
I'm saying it to you and to everyone out there who chose you can listen to music before Thanksgiving.
Fine.
You cannot be celebrating getting gifts and celebrating the greatest gift of Jesus before you've spent time being thankful for what you already have.
I mean,
I'm just going to say check yourself.
hold on, but technically Thanksgiving isn't that thankful. Like we like do it like with thankfulness, but like the tradition, like the origin of Thanksgiving wasn't very happy.
There's people coming together to try to unify life.
Wait, what are they teaching in schools nowadays? I thought it was good. I thought we were happy about Thanksgiving back in the day.
Wasn't it like the Native Americans and
We might need to
Pilgrims
clip
coming
this
together?
part. This
Yeah,
might be-
for a time, and then they like fought the next day, and like I don't remember all the history. Let's be honest.
I mean, I think
guys.
that happened in,
History's
like-
not my strong subject, but
I think that happened in most of the world wars where it was a holiday and people like
Oh yeah,
they're in the trenches of
What's that story where
Normandy.
it's like no man's land and they
Oh,
like,
the soccer
they
tournament
stopped and they
on
were like,
Christmas.
Yeah, let's play soccer.
Yeah.
Man, that's crazy. Like
Well, apparently that's what Thanksgiving's about too.
But
You're
I think it was
fighting
really
each other to
before
then.
too,
Okay.
because there's kids that like will learn about the history and they're like, I just can't even do Thanksgiving anymore. Like I just don't like it.
So wait, we might have to clip this part, but I always thought Thanksgiving was like Squanto came over, they brought food and
That's
they
what I thought.
feasted and
That's
they had
like-
the big meal. And then what happened? You tell
That's
me.
like the happy version. But I mean, again, I don't remember all the history like this. I've learned so much since like we've gone over this, but basically there was just like argument like before, and then the Pilgrims, I think if I'm remembering it right, history guys, like, please don't check me on this. But if I'm remembering right, it's like the Pilgrims like want to have a feast, but they didn't like do anything, so it was like all on the Native Americans to bring everything over, and then they like fought a bunch, and then it was just like, so the traditional like story of it is just like happy like coming together, but in reality like it wasn't, or it was for like 2 hours,
Natives brought them
and
food.
they
and then-
fought.
It's moments like this where sometimes I'm like, there might be, what do you call it when they combine? You feels like you're entering into a different dimension, where it's like, I thought Thanksgiving was always about this, and now
I know.
apparently it wasn't. It's like crossing the Spider-Verse into a different reality. You don't feel that way, Parker?
No, it's just
Or are you laughing because you feel exactly
it's just funny trying to watch you be
talk
like-
about something I don't.
Yeah, like last time it was what's the thing when you get, what's it called when you like get motion sick or like seasick? And it's like, seasick.
I'm doing a lot better with my words this time.
It is good. It is good.
Maybe I've been trying to get some word coaching.
Word coach.
Yeah, like, hey, how do I help articulate my words
Like-
and my brain better?
Doing this.
ADHD.
Yeah, I'm
medicine.
practicing.
Yeah.
It's hard to
Adderall.
communicate.
Yeah, maybe I need that.
Maybe.
Maybe I need that. You're like, no, don't do it. Don't do it. Oh my gosh. Yeah, my words have been good.
Yeah, been good.
I forgot what I was going to say next. Because I'm now worried about, like, what words am I going to say?
No.
Well, we are talking about mind, like brains and minds and talking. You have one of my favorite podcasts I've listened to called TYBO. Tell us a little bit about, like, turn your brain off. What's the name of your co-host, by the way?
Andrew Nonberg.
Yeah, you guys both kill it on there.
Thank you.
It's really good. So I would love to, I mean, one, just kind of the, you guys talk about mindset things. So maybe we can talk about some of the things you're really loving right now with that. But also, why did you guys start the podcast? What's kind of the goal? I've had some of these conversations. It's been so fun to hear what you guys do. So tell us a little bit about TYBO.
So the reason we started it is because Andrew and I have seen how much mindset has played a factor in our careers. And wrestling, as you go higher and higher in the sport, it becomes more and more mental because everyone has the same level of commitment to the sport. Everyone trains really hard. Everyone lifts. Everyone has great technique. But what separates the best from everyone else is like inches. The mental side is something that not everyone trains or has learned how to train. And so when I started putting some focus onto that, I saw my levels just jump. And also just in life, I mean, the world we live in now is hard. And so having tools and practices for managing stress and anxiety is really important. And it's something that, I mean, I've just seen so much in my own life, how much it's helped me that I'm like, man, people need to know about this. And you know how when you talk about things, the more that you talk about it, the more it becomes natural and it becomes a part of you. And this is something that I'm like, this is really important to me. And I want this to always be a part of my life. And so I want to share it. And by sharing things, as we teach, we become more familiar. It becomes more natural. So that was kind of my selfish part of it too, is I want to learn how to become a better communicator. I want to be a good listener and I want to ask good questions. And the only way for me to learn how to do anything is to just jump into it. And so that was like my selfish reasoning, if you will, is this is just something I've always been curious about. So I'm going to jump into it. And Andrew, he has done podcasts in the past. I'd been a guest on one of his podcasts called Hey Coach. And so that's kind of how we had started our friendship. And he's just an awesome guy to be around. His energy is great. And he kind of just says yes to everything. So we'll have a lot of ideas. And he's like, yes, I love it. Yes. And like, I kind of just want to be around someone who's just like, yeah, let's go for it. So that's how it started. And the whole premise of the podcast is to speak to high performers, whether in sports and business, to see how they use their minds to win. And it's so funny because you could probably listen. I mean, you can listen to it and there's like an overarching theme of like what everyone says. And it's pretty consistent. I mean, we really haven't had anybody come on there and say something that's just like, wow. You know, that's contradictory to what everyone has said.
Yeah.
So,
what are some of those themes that you're seeing when you're like, if I zoom out, when it comes to mindset, here's some things I'm seeing that are key.
Goal setting, positive self-talk, journaling, visualization. Those are, I mean, there's some other small things, but those are like the top. Like your internal dialogue is huge. Everybody talks about that. And the funny thing is, the higher that you like, the most successful people that we talk to, everyone kind of thinks like, and maybe not everyone thinks this, but in the past I've looked at people that have been successful and been like, oh man, they just must have had things that like worked out. They had a great environment. You know, they must not struggle with these things that I struggle with. And it's like the total opposite. It's like they are bombarded with probably even more so, but they're just so resilient and like, they're like, I have to solve this problem. Instead of quitting, they found a way to solve whatever obstacle was in the way. They found something to help them get through that. And they just like persisted through it. So it's like the most successful people out there have had to overcome the most. And there's things where they might have had I had a great family. That's a huge advantage.
Yeah.
The most. But I've still had my fair share of struggles with, you name it. Ask me about something.
Yeah. Man. You gave us a couple things of like, hey, here's some mindset stuff I've been looking at more recently. I think one that stood out to me was it was like the daily, like celebrating the daily wins or acknowledging daily wins.
Yeah.
What does that look like? You know, go into details. Like, what does that look like for you? And maybe some things that I could steal from how that's kind of showing up in your life.
Well, I would say anyone that's listening, write down yesterday's wins. So every day, I journal a lot. That's something you don't have to, but I would really encourage you to journal. It's just helpful for me. Maybe it's just the way that I process things, but I need to get it out of me. And once I see it, I can kind of make my next steps. But I started recording my wins for the day. I read this book called The Gap and the Gain. Somebody I was working with they suggested it. And basically the whole idea is to have a mindset of abundance and thankfulness. And so by tracking your wins, it does a few things. It creates some momentum in your life of like, oh man, there was one thing that I can stand on that I did yesterday, and it kind of propels you into the next day, into the next, and the next. And the gap, that would be considered like the gain mentality of like, look at what I've gained. And you can, so I went through this book, and they have you go back like 10 years and record the gains that you can remember. And then go back 5 years, and then 3 years, then 1 year, then 6 months, then 1 month. And then it just kind of became a habit to me where it's like every day I write down yesterday's wins, because it's like the first thing in the morning, I'm journaling, I'm writing down, okay, this is what I'm thankful for. Like, and it's like a prayer. I'm talking with God. Like, that's how I journal. And okay, thank you for these things, the provision, whatever it is, it's top of mind. And then I look back at yesterday and say, okay, this is something that was a gain that I didn't have before. And then I just kind of try to write those. And it's similar to a gratitude journal, to where you're writing things you're thankful for, that you just put your mind into that space. So I've been doing that consistently for about 8 weeks, and it's exciting because what happens is as you do it more, I'm like, okay, well, what's today's win going to be? Like, because I record them retrospectively. So then you start to get to like, well, tomorrow I want to be able to write down that I did this.
That's cool. How often are you looking back, like more than say like a day or two, at being like, because I feel like for me, it's like when I'm feeling down, it's cool to like see how far I've come, So like, how often are you like looking back 3-4 weeks and being like, okay, God's doing something, positive change is happening?
When I'm losing momentum, when I'm starting to feel like I'm stuck, I kind of look back. And I mean, that's the cool thing about journaling too, especially when if you're doing it with your prayer life or something that you're wrestling with that's very tangible like that. You can look back and see, okay, this is what God's done in my life. And that helps me to be like, okay, God's provided for me for the last 30 years. Chances are he's going to provide today.
Yeah, that's good.
And so like that kind of gives me that faith to stand on. But I would say probably like every couple of weeks, once a month, kind of look back. And it helps me to make sure I'm staying on course. Be like, okay, 3 weeks ago, this was really what I was focused on. Am I staying on that, or have I kind of gone off path a little bit? And has that been an accident or intentional?
Yeah, that's good.
I love that. I was like, I wonder what separates me between me and being an Olympic athlete one day. And I was like, I think it's mindset. I clearly am really athletic and could have done something, That's the only thing that would have separated me.
I mean, did you have a sport you wanted to pursue besides
I did basketball.
basketball? Yeah.
I should chose something different.
It's a really small percentage. I think big part of it is just, I don't want to say luck, but I mean, no, it's not luck. It's just being dumb enough to not stop.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's kind of harsh way of putting it, but like it's really hard when you try to be the best at anything. You just have to be like, there's a fine line between delusion and like dreaming, and it like there's no distinct line until you fail or you succeed. It's delusion until you succeed or you fail. And in my opinion, the only time you fail is when you stop and you're just like, all right, I've stopped. And I don't like fail is a harsh word, but when you're intentionally deciding I'm going to stop. But like I would say failing is when you come to you keep not succeeding, and then you become discouraged, and you're like, I'm done. Or just choosing intentionally is like, this is my goal, where it's like, if it doesn't happen by now, I'm hanging it up and I'm going to the next thing. And that's kind of how I look at it to help myself.
Yeah. Well, I'll be sarcastic at times, but really props to you of just some of the things I've loved, just getting to know you more, is just the intentionality you have of, okay, yes, you're doing the sports world, right? Like you're wrestling, but so much more of who you are is outside of that. Like the amount of time you spent building, like, all right, let me talk about mindset. Hey, let me also spend time. I love doing, like, it seems like you really love the people in your life. You also invested here in students with speaking and we're potentially volunteering. So there's just some things that I've also loved of, I think a lot of athletes get in this mindset of my sport is my life. and never really build the foundations outside of that will carry them beyond. And so it's been really fun just to kind of watch you play that balance, and it really shows of, like, I think your character as a person, you're doing well in sports, and also there's so much more to Sammy Jones than just,
Thank you.
you know, wrestling.
Thanks. Yeah, I mean, that is intentional. I mean, I've done the whole "this is my identity" thing, and it's really hard when you place that much pressure on. Okay, this is what I do. This is who I am, and really, I mean, it's hard when we're talking about, like, on TYBO, the mindset stuff, because it's not a Christian podcast. It's not a, like, we're not pushing principles of the Bible, and so. But I really think you come to a point where it's like, man, really, that's like number one for me. And like, there's a stark difference. A lot of, like, faith is either a really big component of your mindset or it has no impact. That's kind of been from the people we've talked to. This is really important. This isn't a factor at all. But I think you kind of get to a point where you have to have that faith, for me, because that was like, my identity is who God says I am. And like, there's specific things that it points out in Scripture of how he talks to you, and like, that's where your value comes from. And that, for me, that takes a lot of pressure off to perform, to succeed. But I mean, my coach right now will be like, I mean, we talk about this all the time. He's not a believer, and he's like, that makes you weak. You know, you having that mentality makes you weak. And it's just, you got to find the balance. You know, you want more pressure. So it's not the same for everyone, but for me, the least amount of pressure I can put on myself, the better. I feel like I can perform freely and just have fun. If I'm having fun, I'm pretty dangerous.
Yeah. What was the journey like for you to like meet Jesus?
Long.
Yeah.
Well, I was raised in a Christian home. I have great family. I was homeschooled. And the reason my parents homeschooled me was to give me a biblical foundation. The seeds that they sowed didn't take until I was in college. And I'm so thankful now, because I look back and I'm like, gosh, I know who Jesus is. I know his character. I know a lot of Bible verses, and like I used that as a source of hope and encouragement. But when I was going through it, I wasn't interested in it because I didn't have a need for it, really. And then as you go through adolescence, you start to experience a lot of emotions, and then there's things that happen. And I think I shared that when I came and spoke with the youth. And so I had a friend that committed suicide, and that was just a lot of emotion to feel in our community. And I didn't have any of the tools for processing, and really, not a lot of people did. I don't know that my parents had those tools to be like, okay, I'm going to come along, my child, and like help you process this. And the way that I process it, so there's some things that I'm born with. I am pretty tough. Like, I will say, like, as a wrestler, that's just kind of instilled into you. But there's like, my dad was an athlete. My grandfather was an athlete. They're just tough men. They were successful men. So like, I feel like that was kind of bred into me. And so I learned how to protect myself by just being tough. But the thing is, when there's something when you do eventually come to a point in your life when you encounter something real, and there's actually a traumatic experience, which everyone's going to go through at some point, you can't just be tough. You have to be able to process it. And I didn't know how to do that. I didn't know the tools. And so, and honestly, I didn't even correlate it to that experience. I can look back, but that's because I went to a counselor. And so I basically, to try to answer your question without dragging it out, I just started going down a really destructive path. And like, the way that I was talking to myself, the emotions that I was feeling, and what I was doing to numb those things really pulled me away from my family. And I just had a lot of like anger and angst, and I didn't really know where it was coming from. But it drove a huge wedge between me and all of my family members. Because they're kind of looking at me like, what are you doing? Why are you acting this way? And because I wasn't processing it internally, I would just shut down. I just wouldn't talk. Like, I just wouldn't communicate, and would just leave my house when the sun came up, and wouldn't come home until it was super late. I'd turn my phone off. I wouldn't respond. And I was just doing my own thing. And I was very independent. I've always been very independent. I mean, I've gone on international trips when I was 15 by myself. And so, like, I'm like, well, I can take care of myself in a third world country. I don't need anyone. I'm fine. So eventually got to a point where I wasn't living in my home anymore. I was sleeping in my car. And I moved into the trailer park. I met some buddies that needed a fourth roommate. And I moved into their house. And those guys just really loved on me well. They could kind of see, like, okay, something's going on with Sammy. And as they would talk to me, and it's also like you meet people that are outside of your immediate family, they're easier to talk to because there's not that, like, preconceived idea of who you are. So, you know, I could tell them what I'm doing on the weekends, and they're like, oh, okay. Like, that's really destructive, but I'm not in your family, so maybe I didn't feel as much judgment by them. But they loved on me really, really well. And I saw in their relationship that there was something real. Like, they knew Jesus, and it changed the way that they handled things. And they had struggles in their life, but the way that they processed things, I just was kind of watching. I was like, man, this is real. What they have is real. And I like that. So I was living with them for a year, and after that time, I kind of just softened and shared what was going on a little bit. And the real big, like, there was just a real wedge between me and my parents. And they're like, this is important to, like, reconnect that. And so I went to my parents, and I didn't know what was going on. I was just like, I'm feeling a lot of stuff. And, like, at that point, like, I was really depressed, like, having these just, like, dark thoughts of just, like my life is pointless. I don't want to be here. Why am I doing this? Like I said, I quit wrestling. I was not finding value in anything. I had a relationship that was just, I didn't know how to be in a relationship, and it just wasn't healthy for either one of us. And just, like, at that time, it was really bleak. I didn't have this, like, things to be grateful for. I wasn't aware of those things. So I kind of just told my parents that. I'm like, look, I'm thinking about, like, I'm really struggling at that time with, like, suicidal thoughts and, like, just really treating my body poorly, doing things that were not going to give me a long life. Let's just put it that way. Mm-hmm. And so that was really hard for my parents because it was, like, coming out of left field seemingly, of just, wow, we don't know what's going on with our child, and he's telling us all this. That's a big weight to drop. But they had the, I guess, the foresight to be like, look, we need to do some counseling. Let's do some family counseling. And we went and saw this guy, and it was really awkward for me to go and sit with my parents and this counselor and, like, talk. And we went for a few weeks where I just kind of was doing the tough man act and just, like, he's asking me questions and I'm just kind of giving him lip service. And, like, I know the answers. Like, I've been around Christians long enough. I can give you the right answers. Mm-hmm. And then one day he asked me, he's like, and it was so casual. It was like I was walking out the door, and he's like, oh, one more question. He's like, have you ever lost, like, a really close friend? Have you ever experienced death? And I remember just, like, my stomach, like, knotted, and I started just, like, crying, which was another really strange thing. Like, I hadn't cried in years. Like, it just wouldn't happen. You could tell me anything, and it was just like, I don't feel anything. And so that was like, oh, we found something. So then I started meeting with him one-on-one, and that's when we just really started to pull things out of just, like, okay, where's your mind going? Where did it go when this happened? What happened, where in that time of life? And we just really came down to I didn't have the tools to process things. And that kind of started the journey of, like, okay, I know God's real. I know I need him. So I'm going to try to invest in that relationship. So I feel like that was the start. I'm getting connected with God. I went back to college, went to college at Northern Michigan, fell into a great church, and that was just more believers that were, like, on fire. And I hadn't really met those people, and I hadn't really been even aware. I'm sure that there was strong Christians in my community. I just wasn't paying attention to it because I wasn't in enough pain to need some help. And that's really when my relationship with God, I just kind of blew up. It became my own. I was away from my community, and so I got to kind of reinvent who I was. And I was like, I'm someone who, like, loves Jesus, and, like, I care about people's heart. And, like, in that church, it was such a small group that people could really get involved in your life and kind of, like pray for you every single week and check in with you. And So that I just like, I needed that environment. And that's really just what exploded me and people speaking into my life.
Wow. Dude, thanks for sharing.
Thanks for asking.
I think what I love, just as you share part of your story, there's so much more, but I think there's a lot of people out there that can relate to what you went through. So I think there's a lot of really helpful things that people can learn. But then also, you've taken that experience you went through, and I would say, as I kind of look at even just TYBO, you maybe felt unequipped at one point in time in your life. And yes, there might be some selfish motivation of how do I work on my own mindset now, but also it is to benefit people.
Oh, yeah.
And so just even as you talk, I think just the neat things of what you've gone through have now, you're still going through things. Some of those things that were years ago are now shifting to be like, I get to bring a lot of people along that maybe I didn't have, or I can share the tools and things that I went through to just try to help people in their own journey. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah.
It was really good. I mean,
Yeah.
it's fun always just to celebrate what Jesus has done in hindsight, because sometimes in the moment it's like, this is hard.
Yeah. And that, I mean, like we're talking about looking back, you know, a lot of times these things don't make sense until years later. You look back like, wow, you know, like not that I'm stoked that I went through these things, but I do feel like I can relate with people a little bit. You know, like I know what you're feeling.
Yeah.
You know, I know how you're talking to yourself.
Yeah.
This is how I got through it.
Yeah, that's good. It's 11 o'clock. Do you need to get going soon?
It's 11 already. We started late. We
did start a little bit late.
We haven't even got into this thing yet.
I know. Dude, we can just keep.
We'll keep going.
Dude, I saw a podcast the other day. It was like, this is only half, and it was 3 hours long.
Yeah.
And I was like,
Joe Rogan.
no, I don't even remember who that was. Joe Rogan, I know, is a big fan of the long form, but this one was someone else.
You can just keep going.
All right.
Nothing else. I'll text my mom to sign me out for now.
There you go.
Just choir. We're not doing anything.
I
Oh,
mean,
perfect.
yeah.
Did you guys have a fall concert recently?
Yeah, we just had our concert, so now it's just like
yeah.
we're recording like 2 songs for like an album that like all the choirs are putting together, but one song we've like memorized already. And so it's nothing like super, super big. So
Sick.
That's sweet. What is your mindset when you're going into, whether it's a musical or a game? Do you think about those things?
my mindset?
Yeah.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
I think actually it was ironic that Grace Morris is here last week because I think she was the one that, for me at least, really put it in my mind. I guess like I think my dad helped kind of coach me through it, and just like you gotta have. Well, I guess it's been like a few things. It started with a PGC, which is like a really good basketball program, and they just had like a 3-second thing that was like you can't think of a mistake. You have 3 seconds to think of the mistake, and then it's gone. You can't think of it the rest of the game, and just like kind of. So I started to try and like implement that because I'm a point guard, and that has like a ton of pressure on it. And I mean, not that other roles don't, but point guard especially. And so I tried like to implement that in.
I'm laughing because I'm a big man, and I was like, I'd never want to do point guard because there's so much pressure because you have to carry down all the court. I just get to run and try to breathe. You have the important job. So sorry, I was like,
Yeah.
I good on you.
I'm glad you can appreciate.
Yeah, I do a lot. I do a lot.
Yeah, so I think I just tried to implement that first. And then I definitely like kind of was aware of it and was like trying to work on it. But then I think my 8th grade year, Coach Jen had brought our upperclassmen, like alumni in and just kind of talked to us 8th graders like, hey, like what do you guys recommend? Do you guys have like any advice and all this stuff? And Grace was the one that was like, hey, like just like keep working on like on your mental side, like that's a huge thing. And so I wouldn't say like that necessarily like was a turn point for me, but it just like I think it to me I was like, okay, I gotta make sure then like I keep keening in on that stuff because I don't want to lose it. And so since then I've just kind of tried to make it like a big thing. Like sure, if like I find a mistake gives me like discouraging, like I'll try and like talk to myself like you got it, you're good, next play, who cares, back on the like and just like try and like talk myself through it. And yeah, sure, there's times it's like for sure I get down, I get discouraged, but I can definitely see the growth even then. That's like even now there's like a terrible call and I just like don't react.
Yeah.
Sure, maybe I'm like, ugh, I don't know if I agree with that.
Yeah.
But like I just can't react. And I think I've kind of taught myself that. And I've also seen the flip side of my teammates or people I've worked like, played with or played against before when they don't have that mindset thing. And it just like gets them down. or like I even have some teammates now that's like they're phenomenal players. They miss like one shot and they're like bummed. Their heads are hanging. They're like running back on defense, and I'm like, dude, you missed one shot. Like you're okay. Like you're fine. And so I think even seeing that keeps motivating me to be like have a good mindset. Have a good mindset. Like it's okay. Shoot or shoot. So my dad tells me all the time. Steph Curry misses. He keeps shooting, and so I definitely think about mindset a lot. 'Cause like you were saying, mindset's like a huge part of like your game. Whatever sport it is. What's the little Giants quote that's like 80% mental, 20, Giants. What is it? It's like 20% physical, 80% mental, something like that.
I think you're right.
Yeah. And it's like there's a time to watch the tapes, and it's not while the clock is still running. You know?
Yeah.
It's like there those corrections you can make in the moment, but it's not the time to be like, this is what I did wrong, and like tear it apart, you know?
Oh, yeah, definitely in the moment. I mean, you just need to breathe. Like you're saying, just take a deep breath.
Reset.
You practice all day long, all week long. Like that's the time that you should be stressed because you can control it. I'm in practice. I can fix my mistakes. But when it's game time, it's like just rely on the work. You can't do anything. It's like my coach used to tell me, you get a 30-second break in between your periods, and he's like, you can't get stronger in the 30 seconds. Like, what are you going to do, push-ups? He's like, the time to get strong is now. And so just to your point, like, being like devoted, being excellent, watching film is a big part of it, but it's not while the clock's going.
Yeah, I even thinking about that is like whether it's like you're speaking to students or it's like I'm on stage. Like it's bigger than sports. You know, it's like
oh yeah, dude.
Freaking when it comes to it, just give it your all. Things happen, but like I think it's the faithfulness in the preparation that I think really makes the difference.
I was like, as we're thinking about this, I was like, shout out to my kind of like life coach, Justin, who we were just talking about. He's like, hey, we just acknowledge some ways that maybe you win in your life that don't always feel like a win maybe to other people, but, you know, internally, I just want to be peaceful all the time. There's things where I'll have inner turmoil, and so I'm like, I'm dealing with those so they don't just come out sideways on people. And he's like, that's a win. Even though you might be like, there's so much going on that you're not showing up the way that you want. It's a little win that you can celebrate.
Yeah.
Even amidst different things. So I love your kind of bringing it back of sports is just a super kind of great key for tangible, life.
You know, like it's something I can measure, but then once you're done with that, it's like, okay, how do I be an excellent husband? Well, you don't win at being a husband. You just don't stop being a good husband. And that's harder to measure.
Yeah, totally.
The clock doesn't run out.
By the way, Nat's amazing. So she shared, your wife is amazing. She shared last Wednesday, and
I'm so proud of her. That was amazing.
You might be in the right league for Olympics, but she might be out of your league when it comes to your guys' relationship. So congrats on,
thank you.
Marrying it
Hey,
up.
you're winning.
You're winning.
Being a good
You're
husband.
winning. So, dude,
that was awesome.
she's the best.
Yeah,
it was good. It was really good to have her share. We're gonna kind of keep a little bit on the same train because we have a Q&A segment on Instagram where some people get to bring in their questions, and some of this we've chatted a little bit about.
Okay.
But Rayber 08 said, when did you fall in love with your sport?
Rayber 08. I fell in love with wrestling the very first practice that I had. Honestly, I showed up to St. Paul's High School, Grappler Wrestling Club, and socks and pink shorts.
Nice.
Purple shorts, not pink, purple shorts. And I just remember that, like, I had no idea what it was about and just started scrapping, and I loved it from the get-go. I mean, that's why I feel like I can stay in this until I'm 30 is because I'm just playing. I'm like a little kid still. Yeah.
That's
very
awesome.
first practice.
Dang, right off the bat.
I was hooked.
Love that.
I was hooked.
Hooked. Asher Myers 31 said, how did you get the motivation to consistently train?
Well, I'm really competitive. And so, like, I don't know if it's like, I don't want to say fear driven sometimes when you're just like, I know my competitors are training. And so, like, I've set a goal for myself, and just being completely honest with yourself, like, you have to be committed to that goal. And there's like, that requires doing the work when you don't want to. And in wrestling, I mean, it's such a tough sport, but you can see the separation from the guys that do the extra work. It just, if you show up and you work out and you just keep your head down and you do the job, you're going to get better. And so like knowing that like I can always get better has been the motivation to show up and train.
Yeah. It's almost more of a discipline, right? Than a motivation. Like you have motivation,
Oh yeah.
but you have the discipline when you don't have
Yeah,
the motivation.
I hate losing more than I like winning, and so it's like that's why I kind of say it's like a fear motivation, not a fear motivation, but it's just like, well, if I'm gonna do this, like I am not wrestling to lose. This is way too hard. There's way too much I've invested. I've moved my family all over the country. I train way too hard to not train hard. You know,
Yep.
there's too much on the line to just go in and lose. That's the worst feeling in the world. So yeah.
It's good. I like that. Ethan D said, "Have you found Olympus yet?" Apparently, Olympus. Is it because Olympics were like Greek, originated in the Greek?
Have I found the
Yeah.
Olympus?
Have you ever been to? Is it Mount Olympus?
I've been. It's Olympia.
Olympia. Have you ever been there?
I haven't.
So you haven't found it yet.
I haven't found that. Let me keep looking. I haven't evolved yet.
Yeah.
Where has been your favorite place to compete in, like country wise?
Norway is really cool. Oslo is like it's a utopian country. I mean, or city, I would say. It's very nice.
Yeah.
That was a really fun competition. I really like Hungary. That city's Budapest is really fun. I've had a lot of good experiences there. So I probably like those two countries the most. Croatia was amazing. That last photo you pulled up.
Nice.
That was a really fun place.
Resort food.
Yeah.
Right on the beach.
Yeah, it usually comes down to like food and like weather and what you can see when you're out there. And the people. The people are a big part of it. In Budapest, the people are really cool in the city.
Sick.
That's sweet. Riley Ann said, other opportunities that being an Olympic athlete has opened.
Stuff like this.
Yeah.
People want to hear your story, and I think that's the biggest door it's opened. It's just you kind of have there's something tangible that people see that they can respect, and so usually that just opens the door to conversations. But I've gotten to go on a diplomatic date. I don't know if you want to call it a date, but I was in Kazakhstan, and I was over there as a training partner, and because of that, I got to the other diplomats from other countries, they'll kind of like, they're hosting and showing stuff, and so this one diplomat, he had a daughter about my age, and so we got to go on a very formal date, and I got to go to, like, they brought me to a mosque, they brought me all around the city, I got to eat this, like, cultural food, and that was really fun, but that only happened because of what I'm doing.
Dang.
It was really fun.
Wow. I love that. I mean, I think the one of the things that we really had a goal in this podcast was celebrating people's platforms that Jesus has given them. There's a little kind of bit that I'll sometimes do of like, hey, we've been given platforms not to look down on people, but to use it for his purpose.
Yeah.
And, we that was like a huge win of getting to you share your story and talk about faith and wrestling and mindset, because I think you're doing that really well. Is like someone who's in you could easily get caught up with, I got training, I got this travel, I got, we got a young kid, another on the way. There's a lot of life that can catch up. And I just want to honor you and just saying, hey, I recognize that there's a platform that you've been given by being in this athletic world. And I think you're doing a great job just using it for a bigger purpose than, your own wins and success.
Thanks.
So thanks for being here and kind of sharing it with all of us. It's huge. So
Yeah, I love doing this kind of stuff.
yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Any last words from you two,
I don't think so.
Parker?
So do we wrestle now?
Dude, the last time I said yes to one of these things, it was against a strong man who arm wrestled me, and he apparently was the Wyoming world champ or state champ, and I got crushed.
Okay, we won't.
So, like,
Off camera.
I don't want to hurt your feelings,
Yeah,
but
it'll be off camera.
it'd be
No, that'd be embarrassing if I lost you.
Yeah.
Keep my ego in check.
again the only chance I have is if I could just lay on you. That's the only way I'd be able to win. Pass down.
I guess so. We've been talking. I think we've kind of gone around it a lot, but I think kind of just if you could sum up, like, let's say you're talking to a Zoe, right? She's in high school.
To a Zoe. Okay.
She's an athlete. She wants to do this, maybe not forever, but at least in this next season, right, stepping into college, we have a lot of people that watch that are kind of in that finding these things that they love and are passionate about and wanting to do something with it. If you could just kind of sum up, like, what would you tell them? Like,
I would say dream as big as you possibly can. And so zoom out, like take it to where it's okay, the Olympics. I want to be an Olympic gold medalist. I've had that in my mind since I was 7th, 8th grade. So find your Olympic dream, whatever the like top, whatever that is for you. Some people like their Olympic dream is to win a state title, but I would say dream as big as you can, and something that feels like kind of silly to say to people. It's like almost intimidating. Like that's a big goal and you should feel silly for saying that. Like you want to have that feeling and then kind of step backwards and say, okay, this is what I need to do to get there. You know, and the chances are if you want to be an Olympic champ, you'll probably be a state champ because you're going to have to do the things. But with having that goal, you have to be super intentional to like, okay, I have to be committed. And so then that the commitment is like watching film, showing up for practice, doing your conditioning, working on your mindset. So like that's part of being committed. And then finding people that have done what you're trying to do or at least a few steps ahead of you, because you get around those people, it's going to stretch you. They're going to give you some encouragement, some motivation. And, you know, if you're in a sport where you have to train with these people and they're a lot better than you, you're either going to be forced to quit or be forced to get better. And so that's kind of that would be the formula of how to get there. But I think it's exciting when people have big dreams, and people are attracted to that. They want to kind of gather around that, and that's when you meet really cool people that are doing cool stuff. And so even if your dreams don't come to fruition, you're still going to learn a lot in that process. So that would be what I would tell you.
Yeah, that's really good.
I love that. It's good. Zoe, thanks for being our guest host today.
Thanks for having me.
I just want to shout out, you've done musicals, you've done basketball. You're also doing a lot of the broadcasting stuff for your high school. And I think those things are awesome, but we just really love who you are. And so thanks for being on this show and hanging out with Sammy and Parker and I.
Of course.
It's good. And, you know, you had your off block and now you're getting a little bit extra time off school. So thanks.
Yeah.
Sammy, just again, thanks so much to you just for how you've invested in this place and the ways that you've done that probably before we got to meet you, and how you'll still keep impacting just the world if we don't get to see you after a couple of years of, you know, whenever you're carrying the Olympic flag.
In the torch.
Yeah, dude, that's what I'm talking about. But again, just thank you again for all of you who are watching that want to support him. Go follow TYBO on all. It's on a lot of different podcast
you should
networks.
be able to listen to it wherever you listen to podcasts.
I've seen it on Spotify. It's on podcast, Apple stuff. So go check it out. I think my favorite thing is there's also some 4-minute. You guys do a lot of 4-minute episodes. It's like, hey, here's some mindset things.
Yeah, we just released one on journaling.
Oh, nice.
So this week we did it's gone from like it used to be like 3 minutes or less to like 10 minutes or less.
Yeah. It's good. And then the other thing, I'll just plug Instagram for you of Sam in the Circle.
Sam in the
If
Circle.
you kind of just want to keep up with what's going on, I think that's a huge way we can help support you. So, and thanks for being here, buddy.
Absolutely. Yeah, thank you.
Parker, thanks for joining us again.
Of course. Part of my job.
It's a wrap.
It's a wrap. Peace.
Awesome. See you guys.